Hey Conway, Dr. Devitt here. I have a very important update for you all. Something different that I wanted to do was to create an update after each semester so you can see how Conway overall is doing, what our building goals are, how we're achieving those, and what some next steps are that we have in place to make sure that this is a truly special place for all of your kiddos. So first is I shared with you all at curriculum night, but something that Conway and also the rest of Ladue is using to guide our work is Marzano's High Reliability Schools Framework. So this is something that is going to be a multi-year rollout. So for year one, we're focused on safe, supportive, and collaborative school culture. In coming years, we focus on the next steps of that, but we know that in order to achieve great things here, we need to make sure that our foundation is solid. So year one, all of our goals are going to relate to that level one. So the way that we created our goals, Dr. Hatfield and myself, when we were first hired, we actually came to Conway and we chose to have one-on-one interviews with each staff member in every different position across the school just to hear from them as to what the strengths and weaknesses and some areas of growth that we could make. We then looked at and disaggregated all the data from Panorama, our growth and achievement data from NWA benchmarks and the MAP test at the end of the year. Then we also looked at staff surveys, just to get a sense from them as to the current state of Conway and some areas that we can make large growth with really small inputs. So the three goals that we created were first, faculty and staff perceived the school environment as safe, supportive, and orderly. Again, it's not that Conway wasn't already this, but we knew that there were some particular areas that we could tighten things up. And to really be able to do excellent things, we need to have this as a baseline criteria. Our second goal was that teachers and staff work collaboratively to have just a common time and a common place and common language and mutual respect so that we can be working towards goals as it relates to assessment and instruction and social emotional and just everything as it relates to student growth and achievement. The third is that Conway Elementary School is going to achieve academic excellence by using different engagement strategies and to shift our focus from just being achievement oriented to becoming more growth oriented. We know that in Ladue and Conway in particular, there's such a trend and rich history of just students performing at such a high level. And something that I and we are now committed to is not just to ensure that they achieve at that level, but even once they reach that level, that they continue to grow. So whether or not a student is below grade level, on grade level, well above level, we want to make sure that we are differentiated and meeting the needs of each of those students. So that was a definite goal that we had coming into this school year. So for building goal one, some of the specific things that we put in place as a leadership team was to have common expectations. We recognize that if we could have clear and consistent expectations, that would lead to greater outcomes. So the first couple of weeks of school, Dr. Hatfield and myself, we laid out those expectations in the common spaces. So cafeteria, hallways, buses, bathrooms, all those different places where kids tend to be less supervised and some opportunistic misbehavior can occur. We made sure that we had increased hallway supervision. And we also made sure that there was consistent staffing in the cafeteria for lunches. So it's our three fantastic TAs that operate that now. And they had some common training led by Dr. Hatfield and myself. And so now they run the cafeteria with the same expectations for each lunch period with common rewards and consequences that follow. And it's really been impactful having just that consistency and expectations for the kids and as well for our staff. We've also been focused to achieve this goal on support. So some various things that we've done is Dr. Hatfield and myself, we started Tea Time with Toms. We had a lot of new staff members start this year. So once a month for any either new teacher to the profession at Conway or just new to our school community, we meet monthly and bring treats and we just talk and have that cohort to just bring different issues to light and support each other and have that connection. We also started a Sunshine Committee, which is kind of an offshoot of our social committee. So making sure that staff feel just that love and appreciation. So Mishima Tani has been leading that for us and just bringing different flowers and gifts and coffee and treats and chocolate covered pretzels and notes of appreciation just to make sure that our staff feel the appreciation that we feel in our hearts for them. So in regards to progress, we're doing great on our first goal. So some of the data that shows that is, first, when we did our panorama survey, parents do a survey, but also staff and students do. And on that survey, staff sense of belonging increased by 12%. And additionally, the school climate that the parents submitted increased by 3%. And so year one, this is something that we are definitely looking at and making sure that we're achieving, just making it where people feel like this is a safe place where they want to be. So far, making good progress. Our second building goal was that staff work collaboratively to address different issues. So the primary way that we're doing that is with that Marzano High Reliability Schools framework that I shared with, having common language, a common vision, common steps, and a playbook for how to get there. We also have weekly grade level professional learning community meetings called PLCs, where every single week we get together with the grade level. Oftentimes we have our instructional coach and our math and literacy experts that participate in that, myself and Dr. Hatfield as well. And it's a time for us to really dig into the data and make sure we're achieving that goal that we have of increasing engagement, increasing that growth, collaborating and building that mutual respect, because it's such great people that work at Conway's. Our teachers are truly phenomenal. So leaning on that expertise and sharing that information to build that efficacy amongst ourselves. We also started our No Place for Hate initiative, and that's again across the district, just making sure that teachers and staff and kids and parents feel that sense of closeness and welcoming and belonging. It's something that I personally care very much about, and I want to make sure that all of the students who are at Conway feel that too. We've also had some lunch and learns hosted by various people. Most recently, we had Mrs. Kindle, our instructional coach, hosted for some different technology resources that teachers got to play around with. Then, if they chose to, they can incorporate some of those robotics and different things into their actual lessons. In terms of progress, again, we're doing really well for it being halfway through the year and actually achieving this. One metric that shows us that is our professional learning strand on the panorama survey is up 8%. So this is questions related to, how valuable is the feedback you receive, how valuable are the professional learning experiences you're receiving, how much mutual respect you feel for your colleagues. So the fact that it increased 8% in just half of a year's time is a testament to the work that's happening here at Conway. Our third building goal is focused on using those engagement strategies to make sure that kids are learning and not just achieving, but as I shared before, that they're growing, and that's the collective mindset of the adults in Conway, is that we're focused on growth and not just achievement. So some different things that we've done is we started Grow Time, and this is something that each of the elementary schools are doing. It's a time where students get what they need. So we look at each kid individually, primarily using the benchmarking data from iReady, but also using just anecdotal observations from teachers, and also grades from the classrooms, exit slips, quizzes, tests, all those different things, just to notice, is it math or reading or enrichment? What does each individual student really need? And then placing them in a group for that time, 30 minutes each day, so they can have exposure to that. Normally during the day, kids are receiving on grade level instruction. Grow Time is that chance for us to give them the learning that they need. If they're missing foundational skills, this is a time that they can be exposed to that. If they have all the skills and then some, this is a time they can do some true enrichment. So the mindset has been awesome in making sure that our kids are growing. We also have an instructional coaching model that we revamped. Last time it was a part-time position shared between us and a different school. Now it's full-time. So Mrs. Kindle is in our building doing different coaching cycles with all of our teachers here. It's a commitment that we have and really a gift that all of our teachers have a chance to meet with someone who can help them learn and grow, where they're identifying their own personal goals for how they want to be growing and improving, and to have an instructional coach to mentor them and meet with them and help them along to achieve the goals that they have. Finally, we're reframing data discussions to focus on growth and not just achievement. Again, we want to make sure that every single individual kid, regardless of any subgroup or demographic group or anything that's going on with them, high, low, middle, above, doesn't matter. Every single student that comes to Conway is learning and growing. So just reframing the conversations when we have them as data teams and as a district. Some of the data that shows that we're progressing in this domain is the feedback and instructional coaching strand on the Panorama survey increased by 22%, which is just phenomenal and a testament to the work that's happening at Conway to make sure that teachers are getting the feedback and the information and a chance to reflect on their own practice so that they can grow, which then leads our students to be growing. I want to share with you all some Conway specific data as it relates to the iReady test. And again, we're focused on growth and not just achievement, so that's what I'm going to share with you all. For math, this graphic shows if the bar were all the way full at 100%, that's how much growth a student should be making in 1 year's time. Okay, so by the end of the year, we would hope that this bar would be at 100%. Which means that when we look at this, the fact that it's only halfway through the year, we would expect that the bar would be at 50% for median average growth. But it is really energizing to see that at Conway, the amount of growth that students are making in math, K through 4, is actually 66% is the median amount of growth. So fantastic growth in math as reported by the iReady winter benchmark. When we look at our reading data, it's even more favorable. It's at 91% is the median score for how much students have grown. So to say that differently, again, we expect it to be 50%. 100% would mean that you've grown 1 year. And so our median growth is 91%. So 41% above what we would expect it to be for reading. So our kids are just growing at a tremendous rate that in half a year's time, most of our kids have actually almost already achieved a full year's worth of growth. So huge, huge success when it comes to that reading growth. Going into second semester, there's definitely areas that we can be growing and some things we're going to focus on related to our building goals. The first thing that we're going to do is put a focus on some systems that are going to support our new to Ladue families. Something that we have seen that was shared with us by Dr. Crabtree, our Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction over the summer, is that students who transfer into Ladue in general score lower for growth and achievement their first year here, as well as for some of our social emotional metrics and feeling that sense of belonging. And of course, this all makes sense. This is nothing that's like a Conway specific problem or a Ladue problem. This is something that you would expect. But even though it's expected, it doesn't mean that it's okay to us. And it's something that we're committed to making sure that all students, whether you've been here for a long time or this is your first year here, that you are making that growth. So we're putting in some things into place next semester. We've been having some building leadership team meetings and we've been meeting with our CSA to make sure that all students are making that growth. The second area of focus that we have for second semester is increasing student engagement. Currently, that was one area that did dip on our Panorama survey. It was down 11%. If I had to infer why that happened, my guess is that it mostly relates to that we have newer curriculum, and so teachers are learning it kind of as they go. And you need to really teach it through one time before you can innovate and really add in some of those really cool learning experiences that get kids excited. So while this isn't surprising to me and not overly alarming, it's still something that we want to focus on as a building to make sure that our kids are engaged and excited and curious and coming home just feeling excited about what they learned during the day. In summary, this year is going so well so far. I'm so proud to be a part of this school. I'm so proud of the growth that our kids are making because of what our teachers have been doing and the partnership that we have with our families and our community. There's definitely areas that we need to grow in. There's no doubt about that. But there's so much to be celebrating after this first semester. And I'm really looking forward to partnering with you all going into second semester so we can keep growing and keep achieving as a school and as a district. Thank you and have a wonderful break.